Hello everyone, this is Irfan. I am from NTR Educational Institutions and Excel Civils Academy. So today we are going to have a complete explanation on NITI Aayog. And that you know that NITI Aayog, Erstwhile Planning Commission, the Prime Minister of India in the 2015, and he announced that abolition of the Planning Commission. In the place of Planning Commission, the government is going to and institute a national institution for transforming India, Aayog. Okay, so here the first thing, what is it NITI Aayog? We need to know. The NITI Aayog means National Institution for transforming India. Okay, so this is an abbreviation of the NITI Aayog, National Institution for Transforming India, Aayog. So now many of you may confuse that what are the essentiality to bringing this as such extra constitutional body, and if this NITI Aayog will make a plan in terms of that related to as a think tank when it is giving a suggestions to the Indian government when the Planning Commission was there in this 1950. So what is the essentiality? What is the need to bringing back this such kind of a NITI Aayog, National Institution for Transforming India, and in the 2014 after an India. So we'll discuss why. There's many of you that you might have a question in your mind that why Planning Commission abolished. We'll have, before going to have a complete and explanations of the NITI Aayog, National Institution for Transforming India, you need to know, each and every student and need to know about and what is Planning Commission. When you know that there are the two dates are very important whenever you are going to have a discussion about this kind of a NITI Aayog and as well as to the Planning Commission. Let me say here, what is Planning Commission? Okay, what is Planning Commission? The first thing is that what is Planning Commission? Okay, let me say here in the 1950, the Indian government have adopted a such planning method from USSR. It's simply we call Russia. Okay, so because we had good relations without having any kind of skirmishes, and since 1970 when Nehruji paid visit to the Russia, and reciprocally even this USSR president made a visit, and also they have, since that time we have been following the foreign policy. So might be the one reason that we have taken the such kind of the planning method from Russia, and that in terms of to making of a plan. So this Planning Commission was almost, no, we are not going to in-depth analysis on the what is a Planning Commission and how was the Planning Commission, what is the governing council of the Planning Commission, or such kind of a thing. We are not going to have a discussion on it. So we are going to understand NITI Aayog. In between that, we need, each and everyone need to know that why this Planning Commission abolished. Restwhile, why this NITI Aayog, I mean it is a National Institution for Transforming India, why it is an established, we need to know that. First reason is that it's a redundant organization. It's a Planning Commission was called it as the first reason I'm going to explain to you that Planning Commission was a redundant organization. Why it is named as a redundant? Generally redundant means inappropriate to the contemporary situation, or a redundant means useless. That is such a situation. I mean to say the Planning Commission for this 21st century, and it is not an applicable to making of the plans because it's an almost older organization, and it is not. See, because why I'm saying and this is an older organization means here you need to know the first thing. Like for example, 1950 to 1990 is a one period in the history of India. When it comes to the 1992 after 2020, and I mean to say you can say until now the situation is different because there is paradigm of and changes and have come in the Indian administration because of in the 1990 when P.V. Narasimha Rao came into the power as the Prime Minister of India, he brought up the policies called liberalization, privatization and globalization. This policy has made a different and it has brought up a paradigm changes into the Indian administration, and in terms of it for a changes there has to be a changes into the planning. No, for example, see when new things has come into the administration, accordingly to the things there has to be a changes into the planning. But unfortunately we are depends upon the socialistic method of planning since in the 1952 and at the same time up to the 2014. And even many of our Congress leaders, many of our veteran Congress leaders have spoke about planning commission that, and it is there as essentiality to insert innovations into the planning commission. The planning should not be like before the 1990 to the point and contemporary. There has to be and many changes must be takes place in terms of the planning into the in India. So in such a situation, what has happened here is that, and when this Congress veteran leaders along with this, the most of them like an Arun Jaitley and all those people have thought it that to change, there is rapid change is required for the planning commission. Hence, they made it a redundant organization because it is not associated to the present planning in the 21st century. That is the one reason in the 2014 and the place of there was no innovations in the planning. There was no this planning which is not completely relevance to the present point of a time. It's an essential things that it has to be removed. The certain structure of the planning, in the place of the certain structure of the planning, there has to be an introduce the new things, very expertise thing and innovative thing in a such a way. The government of India and in the 2014 the Prime Minister have announced that in the place of planning commission and the planning commission is going to be abolished. In the place of planning commission there is an NITI Aayog. So NITI Aayog has come into the force 2015 and January 1st. It's a very important date. January 1st, 2015, the NITI Aayog has come into the force and then it has started rest while the planning commission is completely abolished. The first reason I haven't clarified to you, it was a redundant organization. It's not to the point. There was completely the poor methods of the planning mechanism. There was no chance to see any kind of the innovation. But at the same time, it is not associated to the present time of planning in India because of there are a lot of changes have been takes place in the Indian administration. And the second point is that even it as planning commission is not a constitutional body. It is not a statutory body. It is simply it's considered as an extra constitutional body because of it didn't have any kind of an act, the provision, and it doesn't have any kind of the provisions in the constitution related to the planning commission. It was only the extra constitutional body. This will help. This has been and held by an cabinet resolution. Okay, cabinet resolution. So the time of a 5 years. Another one is a 5 years of tenure to the planning commission. So another reasons to abolishment of this planning commission is that it is consist of the 5 years of the tenure. In the present in India, which haven't had a lot of welfare policies in order to making of the plans and introductions of the plan, there may not be insufficient the 5 years of the tenure in order to complete the policies in order to give the fruits to the common people in India. So in terms of this is a matter of the tenure in terms of the planning commission. That was the second reason that in order to abolishing of this and planning commission. And the next reason is that it is not and working properly as a cooperative federalism. It's an organization which do not have a covenant of cooperative federalism. Okay, what does it mean? Cooperative federalism means here you need to understand cooperative federalism and competitive federalism. These are all the two covenants and that has to consider in this India. So cooperative federalism means here, first thing I wanted to explain to you. You may have a doubt that you may question me that and what is the meaning of this cooperative federalism. See, here India is a quasi-federal, at the same time India is a federal country. Where, as we have mentioned in the preamble of the Constitution of India, how the powers is and givens to the central government, at the same time power has to be decentralized and devoluted from central to the state. Understand? Power has to be devoluted from state to central to state. The power centralization should not be takes place. That's the reason we could consider, and the 73rd constitutional amendment and 74th constitutional amendment can consider as it's a symbol of decentralizations of the government. So in order to that, here every government, every state will be given an equal part in terms of decision making, in terms of decision implementation, and a central has to consider the opinions, a central has to consider the issues of the every state, that has to given an equal and equal part to the each and every state as being a part of this cooperative federalism. So another reasons to abolish of the planning commission was there was less and the things that the government is working on in terms of the cooperative federalism. Being as an extra constitutional body, planning commission was working like a monarchy, and it was working like an anarchy type of an administration. Even the planning commission used to allocate the budgets to the state, and such kind of things which have been running since in the 1952 up to the 2014, and all such kind of reasons altogether made it and to change the thoughts and related to abolish of the planning commission. In the place of planning commission, the NITI Aayog has introduced in 2014. Then along with this NDC, we have and this National Development Council. With this 2015 and January 1st onwards, we completely and moved this a certain kind of the structure of planning. In the place of it, National Institution for Transforming India has come into the force. And I'll tell you and the things which are related to that. And when it comes to the point of this National Institutions for Transforming India, what it does actually, as I said it about the reason behind it to abolish of this and planning commission, why the central government introduced this NITI Aayog, will discuss. First, we try to understand administrative and administrative mechanism. Administrative, otherwise we say it is called administrative body. Okay. For example, see, what is this NITI Aayog? It also prepared planning. What kind of planning? We could say credible plans. It prepares the planning. Okay. You need to understand, if again the questions you may raised it, and the same mechanism, there is only the thing you might have things that there was only the things nomenclature change. I mean to say, there might be that there might have certain people who have criticized, some of them eulogized the concept of introductions and initiations of the National Institutions for Transforming India. But you know that when you understand the administrative mechanism of the NITI Aayog, you will understand this, why we have abolished the planning commission. In the place of planning commission, why we have introduced a National Institution for Transforming India. Let me explain the administrative body or administrative skeleton. The first is that I want to say here, the first, who is that here means chairman. Chairman, in order to preparations of the credible plans, and working as a think tank to the government in order to giving a suggestions to the government in terms of any matters, might be the reasons in terms of policy preparation, policy initiation, policy implementation, and any point of a method in which is associated with the welfare state, the NITI Aayog will work as a think tank. What does it mean? It's a tank which consists of the numerous thoughts. These thoughts which may assist it to the government in terms of a policy making. So in order to that, planning has to be prepared by the group of people who are there in this one. If you need to understand, one has to understand about the administrative skeleton of this NITI Aayog as well as you say administrative body. The first one, chairman will be there, chairman, and who is considered as a chairman here is that same as like planning commission chairman is a prime minister. Even for the chairman of the NITI Aayog will be treated as Prime Minister of India. We'll go on. The next thing is that Governance Council. Governance Council. Okay. What is Governance Council? How many members will be there? Governance means, you know, that finding the problem and looking after for the solution. Understand? Governance is a word where you can understand very comprehensive meaning in that, you know, finding the problems and looking for a solution. And for this and all together, who will work under the governance council means all the chief ministers of the states, all the chief ministers of the state and lieutenant governors of the union territories. Here, council of ministers belongs to all the states as being a part and parcel of the governance council, and at the same time, lieutenant governors of the union territory is a being a part and parcel of the governance council. Next one, third one, regional council. Next administrative body is the regional council. What is and how many members will be there? Here, chief ministers as well as lieutenant governors of union territory, including Puducherry and Andaman Nicobar Islands. And the fourth one is that, let me explain after that writing this one, what is a and work of the governance council, regional council, all such kind of thing. Next, we'll see ad hoc membership. How many peoples are there? Ad hoc membership, 2 members. Okay, 2 members will be there. Let's me, and the next one, ad hoc membership after, I can say, and here I can write it one. Fifth one is that, you know, ad hoc membership and chairman. Along with this, you can say CEO, Chief Executive Officer. Along with this, special invitees. Okay. See, one thing, explain that. First, administrative skeleton, chairman will be there. Okay. And then, who is the chairman of the NITI Aayog? Prime Minister of India. Governance Council, who will be the part and parcel of the Governance Council here? Chief Ministers of all the states in India and all the lieutenant governors of union territories. And the next one is a regional council. Again, chief ministers will be there and lieutenant governors. And the next one, ad hoc membership. Ad hoc means the word temporarily. Okay. The meaning of ad hoc you need to understand here. Temporarily members. How many members will be there? Here, 2 members. Who will be drawn? Who will appointed to them as an ad hoc membership means again the Prime Minister of India. And those who are expertise, specialized knowledge in terms of a planning, in terms of science and technology you could consider, and all such kind of thing. Even same thing where you can understand. When you are going to understand the different kinds of committees of Indian Parliament, where you can find out about 2 kinds of committees. One is a standing committees, another one parliamentary standing committees, another one is an parliamentary ad hoc committees. What for ad hoc committees is appointed here is that, you know that sometime, say all the ministers like may not have a sufficient and adequate knowledge relevance to the science and technology. Okay. When the science, in order to seek the knowledge related to the policy making, for example, in India, and we need and to make on all kinds of the policies. For example, might be the reasons which are related to the science and technology. Understand, the policies need to be prepared for the welfare type of policy. Sometimes policies also which is prepared, which is related to the defensive mechanism. So in order to such a way, and we need and all such kind of an expertise. Sometime the concerned members of the parliamentarians, the concerned members of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, the concerned members of this and mechanism of planning may not have a certain kind of a knowledge. And in order to acquire the such knowledge, to be as expertise into that, and in terms of it, Parliament, the Prime Minister of India may seek and help from these 2 members on the rotational basis. 1 year, maybe the 1 year and maybe 2 years on the basis of rotational and methods. Ad hoc membership will be nominated and appointed to the NITI Aayog, National Institutions for Transforming India by Prime Minister of India. The next and administrative skeleton is CEO. Okay, Chief Executive Officer, and also along with this chairman there is a vice chairman also there, and the vice chairman will assist to the and making of the plans. The first vice chairman of NITI Aayog, I can say Arvind Panagaria, who worked in the Columbia University for a long time, who was a veteran and also very eminent knowledgeable person in terms of to know about how to make the plans. So he just came on and deputation, he came on leave for 3 years. He worked as a time of vice chairman to the NITI Aayog. Then it can be considered as another skeletal body of this and chief executive officer. He will work as in all such things in order to making of a plans and giving a suggestions to the government. Next, I can say special invitees. What does it mean, special invitees? The special invitees may expertise, specialist, and they across the world, the government may attract it to them in order to have a special invitees. When 2017, we have and introduced as a part of the NITI Aayog lectures. Understand? And see, first of all, before going to have a NITI Aayog lectures, you must have an idea. And NITI Aayog, National Institutions for Transforming India, is an administrative skeleton which is consist of it. What is a skeleton of administrative means? Administration means chairman is there. As a chairman is chairman of this NITI Aayog is the Prime Minister of India. Governance Council in order to and making a part and parcel of it to protect the cooperative federalism. The union territories and all the lieutenant governors as well as the chief ministers of the each and every state, a part and parcel of the governance council. And the regional council, there is an essence that and the planning has to be prepared. The planning has to be a formulate by considerations of the local level. Understand? By considerations of the local level and grassroots level in order to focusing the issues in India which are belongs to the grassroots level. Here the regional council also is being a part and parcel of the NITI Aayog in order to focusing the problems of the respective states. For this, all the chief ministers of the state and lieutenant governors peoples will be as a part and parcel of the regional council. Hope you understand. Ad hoc membership, there are the 2 members will be there for a temporary basis. President will appoint it to them to work on to and seek the suggestions in terms of a special knowledge in the special category of policy making. And the next one, CEO will be there, Chief Executive Officer will be there as a part and parcel of the National Institution for Transforming India. When it comes to the point of special invitees also there, those who have an excellent knowledge, those who have veteran experience into the policy making, economical affairs of the country, and all such kind of things in order to have a knowledge about it, a special invitees, and also there is being a part and parcel of the NITI Aayog. Altogether, we can say this is administrative skeleton. Hope you understand clearly that. Then a competitive examinations, the most of the area which is focusing on this administrative skeleton that you need to understand perfectly that you know that along with this one more thing, 7th one, ex officio members will be there. One more thing, ex officio membership. Who will appointed ex officio membership to this NITI Aayog means the 4 members which they appointed are nominated from this Council of Ministers, Union Council of Ministers, Union COM, Council of Minister. There are ex officio members will be there who always is monitoring the planning process as a part of this NITI Aayog. See, as I said it about, NITI Aayog is for 5 years and 15 years. See, simple thing, NITI Aayog, even if it is in a 5 years, it has made a vision plan for a 15 years. For example, in India, according to the census of in India, we have a lots of populations of 135 crores of population plus we have in India. So in order to preparing the policies to giving a fruits to the people as a part of this planning, that it takes longer time, may not be sufficient to reach the policies of the central government to the grassroots level. Understand? So in order to that, to sustain or sustain planning, sustain the same plan for the next 15 years and after the 5 years also, the same plan which must be in a sustain in order to sustaining the such kind of a plan. This and NITI Aayog made it a vision plan for the 15 years. Out of the 5 years, they have made it a 7 year for the visionary. The next were 3 years. I mean to say 5 years tenure within this and a 15 years. And what actually this do? 3 years is action plan. They make it. I mean to say prepare the policy. They are ready to execute the policies within the nation. Such kind of the tenure also has been changed from the Planning Commission to NITI Aayog, National Institution for Transforming India. That's all we have discussed. What is NITI Aayog? First, I have explained to you what are the reason beyond to abolish of this planning commission and why we need to and this national institutions for transforming India. Both are working same one. Both are, it's not a constitutional body. Both are not a statutory body. It's simply, we called it as an extra constitutional body where you can say it's been formulated by the resolution of the Union of Ministers, Union Cabinet. It's been in resolution by the Union Cabinet, you need to understand. So the first, I have given a complete reason why this is. The first reason is that the Planning Commission was not working on the cooperative federalism. The second one, it was in a redundant organization. And also it is at the 5 years of the plan was not as sufficient in order to executions of the fruits to the common people who are living into the grassroots level. The another one is that, the most and foremost thing is that it's been under not protecting a cooperative federalism. It was working like a constitutional monarchy, being as considered as extra constitutional body. So that was another one is that, and that there are a lot of changes has been took place in India after the 1919. According to the change and to the change, there has to be a planning should be takes place with the innovatively and very expertise. There was and no such things. That's the reason. All such reasons made it to in order to changing of the and planning commission. Then after that, we have just come up with the National Institution for Transforming India, as I said it about all this membership and administrative skeleton. And the next one, and I wanted to explain you regarding objectives of NITI Aayog. So if you understand the objective of NITI Aayog, you will understand everything regarding what is NITI Aayog, what are the responsibilities of the NITI Aayog, we will understand perfectly. Let me say objectives of NITI Aayog. Objectives of NITI Aayog. Okay. What are the objectives? Any works consist of the objectives. Until and unless objectives, there is no possibility to, that make it as some sort of a structure and all such kind of a thing. So the NITI Aayog also consists of the objectives. First one is that it fosters a cooperative federalism. It fosters cooperative federalism. Okay. Hope all of you understanding it. Cooperative federalism is a poor man institute. Poor man's institute. Next one is that here bottom-up approach. Very important is that bottom-up approach. Okay. And the next one is that it prepares credible plans. And so on. First, these 4 objectives which you can understand perfectly, then there is a possibility to have a comprehensive understanding on this NITI Aayog. Okay. So let me say cooperative federalism. Understand? And this will give equal importance to the each and every state. For a say, and here Andhra Pradesh and all the chief ministers will be in. All the states chief ministers will be given an equal part. And they'll be treated as an absolute and part and parcel of the making of the planning procedures under the NITI Aayog. So in order to that, each and every state will be given equal importance without showing any kind of discrimination. Then giving an equal importance that it could be considered as and cooperative federalism. This cooperative federalism will work as a central government as well as to the state government will have a coordination in between them. And if any states, this coordination will excel with, if any states which are facing the problems in terms of welfare activities, you say, in terms of any science and technology, you say, in terms of any of an educational related problems, you say, in terms of any kind of a thing, smart and lot of things is being prepared by the state. So in order to that, every state has an leverage to express their issues with the NITI Aayog, and NITI Aayog will conduct a meeting and every year they'll seek things from the state, and also at the same time they'll be given an equal part in terms of meeting. So that it is considered as a cooperative federalism. Okay, it fosters cooperative federalism, the first thing is that the first and foremost and utmost important objective of the NITI Aayog is that cooperative federalism. And the next one, a poor man's institute. Why it is called it as a poor man's institute? Let me say here, poor man's institute, why it is called as. For example, say, when it comes to the point of planning commission, it was considered as a top to bottom approach. What does it mean, top to bottom approach? For example, if I am a chairman of the NITI Aayog and I'm in planning commission, if I could sit in a AC room, then I don't know the problems of the grassroots level. Understand? Here we have that lakhs of crores of population in India. There are the hundreds of districts and hundreds of mandals, thousands of villages and hamlets. Like that from, right from and the national level to up to the grassroots level, there is no possibility to thinking on each and every problem. When the top to bottom, when top level, if you are preparing the plans, then you do not have an adequate knowledge which is related to the and grassroots level. And when you do not have a such kind of the grassroots level, there is no possibility to making a successful plan. Why I am saying a grassroots level? As Gandhiji said, when he came back from South Africa in the 1914 after, he emphasized that villages has to be empowered. Understand? That's the reason he said it, Grama Rajya is Swarajya. When villages are developed, even APJ Abdul Kalam in his document Vision 2020 also said same thing. When villages are developed, there is a possibility to see the development of a nation. Because of when it comes to the point of a 1950, we could see a more 70% of the populations who are living into the village. If a villages are not developed, there is no chance and probability to see the development of a nation. That you can understand perfectly. Hope so. So in order to that, top to bottom approach leastly successful in India, as in the Rajiv Gandhi, and emphasized that when central government, which is and release the fruits to the common people in terms of a policies, there is no genuinity in terms of all the fruits which it can be reached to the people. So reach out problem it is a creating, because it's a top to down approach. Top down approach where it cannot make efficient and effective plans. But when it comes to the point of a NITI Aayog, it will work on a bottom-up approach. It will work from the grassroots level to the national level, and this has a complete knowledge. I mean to say, when states are given an equal importance in terms of a discussions of the issues, when regional council is then appointed as a part of the NITI Aayog, then we could understand easily that NITI Aayog, which are focusing and concentrating on the grassroots level to national level. Understand? So in order to that, this could be considered as a bottom-up approach. When bottom-up approach, when grassroots level is taking on a very important, when it is taking as a very serious in terms of a planning making of a plans, when the NITI Aayog considering from the grassroots level, definitely then the grassroots level, the most of the peoples you can consider, poor man's, like a lot of peoples are there in terms of below poverty line, a lot of peoples who depends upon the farming and all such kind of a thing. So in this and context, the bottom-up approach we are following as a part of a NITI Aayog, and hence we could consider them as a poor man's institute. The NITI Aayog will make it as a poor man's institute. It always maximize a governance, minimize to the government intervention. The thing is that this why I am saying NITI Aayog always is empower the maximization of a governance, minimizations to the government. When government role is and it becomes a more, that it could be considered as a, and I mean to say that it could be considered as an anarchy. Otherwise, it could be considered as a and some of a meaning, fascism and such certain kind of things. It comes to the meaning. So in terms of it, poor man's approach, it could be considered as a bottom-up approach. Always it makes a plan which is helpful for the people. It makes a plan right from grassroots level to the national level. Next one, credible plans. It always and look forward for making of the plans. It gives suggestions to the government in terms of plans, and it should be consist of the credible. Every person may have a faith in terms of implementations of the policies. So that all these are objectives which is considered as objectives of the NITI Aayog. When NITI Aayog will work on cooperative federalism, it will work on the issues and also it will work on the solutions of the concerned issues in the nation. That's the reason instead of this in planning commission, we could say NITI Aayog is a foremost institute which are associated to the bottom-up approach, and also it is it is helping to the poor people in India. And in this class, we have, hope you understand each and everything that what I have explained to you. I said it about what first thing I have excelled in my class, that why the Planning Commission abolished in 2014. I said it one. And then after that, and I explained about administrative skeleton. And after the 2015 and January 1st onwards, NITI Aayog has come into the effect with a wonderful administrative skeleton, like a governors council will be there, regional council will be there, special invitees will be there, and also the chairman along with the CEO, and all are working for a credible plans, and all are working for foster the cooperative federalism. And then I explained to you objectives of and this NITI Aayog. Of course, we can elaborate it a lots of this and objectives, but I just stated about, and this is a bottom-up approach is a one of an objective, the another one is a cooperative federalism and credible plans and poor man's schedule, and also at the same time the plans which is makes by the NITI Aayog in terms of Team India hub. Okay, the NITI Aayog which is consist of the hubs. One is a Team India hub, and another one is a knowledge and innovation hub. Okay, knowledge and innovations hub. Through this Team India hub, knowledge and innovations hub, across 20 plus verticals are there in terms of taking decision. It work on in order to give the suggestions to the government in terms of making a plan related to the agriculture sector, service sector, and all the sectors which gives the plan. So we could understand more objectives that, but I just given a glance idea what is NITI Aayog and how it is works done, what is administrative skeleton. Hope you all understand. The competitive examinations, most of an area which are asked to the questions in the administrative skeleton as well as to the objectives, where you need to focus much and much. And thank you so much for listening this class.